Simon Cowell is a femme TV personality who has often informed his audiences that he has no hobby in having a own family of his personal. But he shocked everybody last year while it changed into discovered that he turned into awaiting an infant together with his high-quality friend's spouse, Lauren Silverman. Well, from falling on your best friend to falling for your high-quality pal's spouse, that's the dilemma that Simon Cowell is in. In the warmth of the talk, Simon boasted approximately infant Eric on social media, ignoring the betrayal of his long-term friend. Unfortunately, tragedy struck soon after Eric's birth, accompanied by way of any other personal setback. What befell to Simon? And how has it affected his family? Join us as we display the heartbreaking news for Simon Cowell's own family. The birth of Eric Cowell. The birth of Eric Cowell became an important moment in Simon Cowell's lifestyles, reworking the TV persona and music executive in methods few could have predicted. Simon, acknowledged for his sharp tongue, relentless paintings ethic, had built a popularity as one of the cruelest critics in the leisure enterprise. Despite all his achievements at age 44, he in no way dreamed of himself as a father, nor did he desire to begin a family. For years, Simon had famously declared on his fact show that parenthood might intervene together with his lifestyle and career targets. Nonetheless, everything changed in 2014, while Simon discovered Lauren Silverman, his friend's wife, turned into pregnant with his child. The news bowled over both Simon and the public due to the fact, at that time Lauren turned into nevertheless married to Andrew Silverman, who happens to be Simon's first-class friend. The revelation of this pregnancy stirred a number of controversy, many of the satisfactory pals, with Andrew calling Simon a co-respondent for adultery. After a short length, Simon, who never had a circle of relatives of his very own in his plan, controlled to regulate to the idea of fatherhood. According to Simon, Eric's delivery became a life-changing event for him. On the day his son was born, Simon rushed across the Atlantic from an audition for Britain's Got Talent to be by means of Lauren's facet. Witnessing the arrival of his son proved to be an emotional experience, one that Simon later described as profoundly transferring. Holding Eric for the primary time added lower back a flood of memories of Simon's father, Eric Sillig Philip Cowell, who had surpassed far away from a coronary heart attack in 1999. The birth of his son rekindled those recollections and the affection Simon had for his past-due father, deepening the emotional effect of the moment. To Simon, the ameliorations that Eric's delivery introduced wasn't simply emotional or symbolic. It was a massive shift in his priorities and conduct. Before Eric came into the e-book, Simon's existence changed into a definition of difficult writing, workaholic, and addictive smoking. However, Eric's start gave him a renewed experience of reason and a reason to get over his punishing agenda. Eric's presence in his existence added him to a softer, more compassionate facet of himself that many had in no way seen earlier then. That's now not all approximately the transformation. Beyond his expert transformation, the birth of Eric has additionally transformed his personal and intellectual fitness. According to Simon, the emotional bond he developed with Eric stimulated Simon to reflect on the importance of fitness in family. Parenting exercises like reading bedtime memories and tasty and playful activities have become loved components of Simon's day. These simple, glad experiences filled him with a practical filament that his profession on my own by no means provided. For Simon Cowell, the delivery of Eric marked no longer handiest the begin of a brand new chapter, however also a considerable turning point in his life. It converted a career-driven bachelor into a committed and compassionate father, helping Simon reconnect with the values of love and circle of relatives, and additionally supporting him cope even as he was grieving his bereaved mom. But a bit while before the delivery of Eric, unknown to his TV target audience, Simon turned into suffering with intellectual health breakdown. He broke down past imaginable factor. Keep looking to find out extra. Coping with grief and effect of Eric on Simon's health. Finding reason and overcoming melancholy are very personal journeys, and for Simon they have been described through excessive struggle and alternate. Simon's course to recovering after the dying of his mom changed into greatly inspired with the aid of the beginning of his son Eric, whose presence helped pull him out of one of the darkest periods of his life after the loss of his mother, who occurs to be the cornerstone of his existence. Apart from being the only determined who raised him since the loss of life of his father in 1994, her mom, Julie Brett, has been his bedrock and emotional guidance. After dropping his mother, he turned into ate up by way of depression, feeling lost and without direction. However, a good way to cope and fill the void that his mom's death left on him, he have become a workaholic, throwing himself into his profession with even extra intensity than earlier then. During an interview, Simon defined that phase as a period of desperate disappointment wherein work had become each and getaway and a numbing agent, a way to distract himself from the pain of his mother's passing. His work agenda was grueling. He would paintings via the night, regularly drowsing only within the early morning and waking up in the afternoon. It became as if he had come to be a vampire, as he described it, existing without any real reason other than to bury his feelings under a mountain of duties. Yet his coping mechanism most effective masked the underlying sorrow. The transient alleviation that paintings provided came at a cost. Simon felt isolated and emotionally exhausted. Despite the success and repute he had constructed over the years, he turned into profoundly sad. Work now not brought the fulfillment it as soon as did. Instead, it became a painful reminder of his loneliness. Then, something took place that relieved his grief. Eric had become the turning factor in Simon's journey via grief. While Simon had first of all been nervous about fatherhood, Eric's start infused Simon's lifestyles with a renewed sense of purpose and power. Suddenly, Simon had a cause to get out of bed in the morning and combat the darkness that had enveloped him. In an interview, Simon credited Eric as saving him, explaining that parenthood's everyday workouts had become existence-converting. Activities like feeding Eric, reading bedtime memories, and playing collectively delivered a surprising but deeply needed sense of normalcy and joy into his existence. Unknown to the little boy, his innocence and joy had been recovery bombs for his father's grief. Watching his son grow and experience existence for the primary time reminded Simon of the beauty and preciousness of the prevailing second. The simple pleasures of parenthood, listening to Eric's laughter gave him an each-day reminder of what it meant to be alive. Although restoration from his mother's dying was not a direct technique, but Eric's presence gave him a brand new perspective on existence. The demands of fatherhood, from diaper adjustments to bedtime workouts, required him to be present and engaged in approaches he hadn't been in years. Through his son, Simon determined a purpose to reconnect with the arena and rediscover the joy of residing. He found out to stability the pain of loss with the love and joy that Eric added into his life. That's not all. Eric inspired Simon to adopt healthier coping mechanisms. Whereas Simon once buried his feelings under a mountain of labor, he commenced to focus on sports that nourished his soul and body. He started prioritizing his fitness for his very own sake and for Eric's. The bodily and intellectual demands of fatherhood required Simon to be at his best, and this cognizance encouraged him to make significant modifications. He sought help, made time for self-care, and embraced a more balanced lifestyle. Simon determined that while grief by no means truly disappears, it turns into more bearable while balanced with love and motive. The bond among Simon and Eric deepened as they shared extra reviews. Eric's unconditional love became a source of energy for Simon, who had formerly felt nothing mattered. The love among father and son helped Simon to heal, not via erasing the grief, but with the aid of giving him the courage to face it and discover pleasure in lifestyles again. The grief that when appeared unbearable had become a part of Simon's narrative, but it not defined him. Instead, it had become a chapter in a story full of love and hope. Things were getting better for him emotionally till tragedy struck again. This will depart you emotional. Keep watching to find out. Simon's close to demise and joy. Simon Cowell's near loss of life and joy in 2020 changed into a defining moment that forced the TV wealthy person to reassess his priorities and rethink what honestly mattered. Known for his relentless paintings, ethic, and unwavering determination to his career, Simon had lengthy been regarded as a bigger-than-existence determined, someone whose consciousness turned into almost totally on his expert aims. However, the terrifying accident that 12 months modified everything, bringing into sharp focus the fragility of lifestyles and the need to cherish loved ones. The close-to-dying experience befell while he became driving his electric-powered bike at home. In a breakup 2D, he lost manage, resulting in a devastating fall that broke his return. The injury became severe, nearly leaving him paralyzed. The pain turned into excruciating, and the road to healing might be lengthy and grueling, packed with bodily therapy and good-sized lifestyle modifications. The twist of fate dispatched shockwaves no longer most effective through Simon's life, but additionally through the ones closest to him, such as Lauren Silverman. The participants of One Direction had shared an unbreakable bond, one solid inside the fireplace of repute and the intensity of their shared reviews. Simon knew that Liam's death would permanently scar every of them and the broader One Direction family. The loss prolonged beyond the track industry to the thousands and thousands of fans who had observed Liam's profession and rooted for his happiness. As Simon grieved, he pondered on Liam's impact on his short but terrific lifestyles. Liam used his platform to entertain and advocate for important reasons and hook up with humans on a deeper level. Simon well liked Liam's dedication to his craft and desire to make a difference through music or philanthropy. The news of his dying felt like an abrupt and mindless end to a journey that had a lot more to offer. Simon and his colleagues within the enterprise expressed their deep sorrow and shared fond reminiscences of Liam. Simon's public tribute revealed Liam's profound impact on his existence and the enterprise. He said Liam no longer most effective as a skilled artist, but as a person who had touched the lives of those around him, such as Simon's family. Thank you for joining us. Are you partial to Simon? Say a word of prayer for him within the comments segment. If you enjoyed watching the video, like proportion and join our channel. Also, click the following video for your display screen, and you will experience it.